one of the great challenges we have in our community, and I talk about this a lot in my book, Black American Money, as well, is that Black people, we give a lot of our money away. A lot of you know this. You've heard me talk about this before. But it's one thing for me to explain to you what you're doing wrong. It's another thing for me to give you a simple protocol for doing things right. So here's what I came up with, and here's the logic. The logic is very simple. Look, a dollar does not disappear just because you spent it. A dollar, it is created and it is destroyed, but it's not created nor destroyed for a very long time. So if I have a dollar and I go and I spend money, if I go to your store and I give you that dollar, the dollar disappears from my world, but it doesn't disappear, right? It's going to be in your hands, right? It's in your pocket. Now you as a consumer are going to make the decision. It starts off psychologically, where you make a conscious choice where you're going, who you're going to hand that dollar to next. So it's like a hot potato, except in a good way, right? So you hand it to the next person, and then the dollar's in their possession, right? So it's like this little baby that we're passing to each other, right? And so here's what's interesting. Here's what I figured out. Okay, so if I spend my money with a white business, and I give my money to Target or Walmart, then that dollar, all it's worth to my community is $1. Because as soon as I give that money to Target or Walmart, that money ain't coming back. They're going to spend that money with other white people. The money's going to be gone, right? But if I give that money to you, and we're all playing the same game, we're all part of the same process, then what are you going to do? You're going to take that dollar, you're going to go give it to, let's say, your cousin who's running a business. And then your cousin, that same dollar is going to be used again by your cousin. So let's say that happens 5 times. Then what has occurred is this dollar is no longer worth $1. This dollar to the Black community has been worth $5 because 5 different people got a chance to use the same dollar bill. So ultimately what you Ivan is saying, I should talk to you more in the comments. I do talk to you in the comments. It's just so much, I go kind of back and forth. If you have a specific financial question that you want me to definitely answer all the time, we actually do have a program for that in the Black Business School. It's a financial coaching program that we created so that anybody can afford it, because the problem is that my time's so crazy and I get so many messages that I'm not able to answer everything. But we actually have something at askdrboyce.com. That's askdrboyce.com, and it's a monthly thing. And every question you submit, I have to answer those questions. So I literally spend my Fridays going through all the questions from every student that's in the program. So it's a financial coaching program. Just go to askdrboyce.com, and any question you ask, I will definitely answer it within a week. No question about it. All right. So anyway, so here's and the first month is free. I forgot to tell you that too. So you can try it out for a month, see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. So when you spend $1 with your community, and everybody's been trained on cooperative economics, this is why in the Black Wealth Bootcamp, stuff like that, I talk so much about us getting on the same page, because that's the thing. Having wealthy Negroes doesn't improve our status if those wealthy Negroes are not trained to understand the value of wealth and understand the importance of bringing that wealth to their community, right? So it's almost like having a gun doesn't mean much if you don't have, say, powerful bullets. But powerful bullets don't mean anything if you're aiming the gun at the wrong target. Do you follow me? So you have to have power and you have to have targeting. If you have power and you have targeting, then you've really got something, right? Just to be funny, it's like sex, right? You hit that spot and it's the best sex in the world, right? But if you don't hit the spot, if you're missing the spot, then it can become very painful, right? So y'all grown, y'all know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so here's the thing. So when it comes to money, what you want to do is you want to make sure that power is targeted. So what I say, so one of the biggest things I realized I had to do is, in the course of everything we teach in the Black Business School, and I think now we're up to 30,000 students or something. We're getting hundreds of students every week who are signing up. Basically, I realized, I said, okay, I have to, first of all, teach Black people how to love themselves. Because the problem is, the reason we give our money away is because we don't love ourselves. We're not connected to a unified purpose. I think now things are changing. I think now we're getting to the point where black people from all walks of life are kind of converging. This is the conversation I had with the lady from CNN today. She said, well, what do you think is caused? She said, actually, police brutality has actually gone down. So what do you think is causing the uproar within the black community? I said, you can really sum it up in 2 words. And I said, Mark Zuckerberg. And I said, Facebook and social media have basically allowed black people for the first time in human history to talk to each other without a filter. And as a result of this, you're seeing a heightened awareness of what's been going on. It's almost like if you've had cancer for 2 years, the day your doctor tells you have cancer is still going to be the worst day of your life, even though you've had cancer for 2 years. You just didn't know you had it. So for us, many of us, we were in the bliss of ignorance. Now you got the term woke. Now you got a lot of people that are woke. And now that they're waking up, they're like, what the hell? What is this? This is crazy. Oh my God. And these are things that a lot of people, like say a Minister Farrakhan, you go back 40 years, Farrakhan was saying this 30, 40 years ago, right? He's not one of those Johnny come latelys. I don't think I'm a Johnny come lately. I was saying this stuff in 2004, 2005 publicly, and most of my friends thought I was crazy. They weren't giving me any attention. One of my biggest concerns I always had was the fact that black men, I've always said that black men were like the roaches of America. A roach is something where you don't, roaches, you kill them any chance you get, and you don't care about the pain of a roach, right? You can take a roach, pull his legs off, and you don't care that the roach is in pain. You're just like, well, the roach should be exterminated. So black men have always been kind of the roaches of our society. So I've been very happy to see people concerned about just just how black men are doing. So given that we're sort of mixing this unified purpose, the key to really moving forward in this is this must not be just a civil rights struggle. This must be a struggle when it comes to learning self-love and loving the community, but also understanding the economic power and the role that economic power plays in how things turn out for you in this world. If black people achieve economic power, and it comes down to how we train our kids, if we achieve that economic power, then what happens is we have the ability to impose our will on our space as well as on other people. So basically, this is what I call the black tax. The black tax, or tithing to your community, basically means that when you spend your money, make sure you aim for a black business. If you're giving a tip, if you're tipping a black person who gives you good service, my standard is I do 15% for everybody else. Black people get 20, 25%. Sometimes if I'm talking to a brother, in my mind, so again, self-love, I start to love this brother and I love his family. I'm thinking this man's got kids at home who are black just like me. I love these kids and I want these kids to do well. So you know what? It ain't nothing for me to go ahead and pull that 20 out of my wallet. Even though he gave me $5 worth of service or whatever, I'm thinking this is not me. This is not charity. This is not me giving money away. This is an investment because his children are going to be better off because of what I just did. So I kind of helped this man of the house be a better man of the house. But it takes practice thinking that way. It really takes, just like it took practice for you to learn how to love white people as much as you do, it's going to take you time to learn how to love black people as much as you love white people. So the idea of spending money in your community, one other thing I tell people about the black tax, and the reason I call it a tax is because that's how nations are built. That's how communities are built. Communities are built with taxation, where you have a pool of money, resources that people all pile together that serve the purpose of the entire community. So basically, the black tax, or tithing to your community, also comes down to what was the other thing? If you're choosing who to buy from. I encourage people to be willing to spend, if you can afford it. I know some people can't, but most of the time we can. If you can afford to do so, spend an extra 20% buying from black people if you can. So that means if you see a pair of socks at Walmart, they cost $5, and that same pair of socks costs $6 at a black business, go with the black business, because here's what happens. If you get an extra dollar, remember what I was saying about how the dollar circulates. So if I give that extra dollar to the black community, that extra dollar is worth $5. So I'm giving away one, but I'm getting 5. Now that 5 that I'm receiving only means something to me if I care about black people. If I don't give a shit about black people, excuse my French, then it's not going to matter. I'm going to see this as a loss, as a net loss, as a giveaway. But that's, think about that. Imagine if every parent thought that way about their kids. Like, oh, well, I'll invest money in my kids if I get the money back, or if I make a profit from it. You don't think that way, right? You're thinking, well, if my child is better off, then I'm better off. Well, if your community is better off, then you're better off. Why not think that way? It's very simple logic. So if you want to, I would encourage you do a couple things for me right now. Number one, if you're on this feed or watching on YouTube or anything like that, please hit the share button. Share this to your page. Each one teach one. I'm not talking to students. I'm talking to teachers. So I want you to be a teacher. I want you to shine your light. I want you to shine it bright, and I don't want you to care about what anybody thinks. That's the first thing. So hit the share button if you don't mind. Also, if you did not get a chance to get a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net, not .com, that's .net, drboycewatkins.net, and you can get a free e-copy of the book and download it, kind of take a look at it, read it. It's a short, easy read, and it's meant for the whole family, and it kind of breaks down 4 key pillars. And I had a forum with Minister Farrakhan about this in 2013. It was in Chicago. It was a beautiful forum. There's actually video of it if you ever want to watch it. But Minister Farrakhan and I literally for 2.5 hours talked about these 4 topics. I reached out to him and I said, Minister, I have these 4 ideas, these 4 pillars on which I believe the community can be rebuilt: wealth, education, family, and community. Would you join me to talk about this? And he did an amazing job. And that's why I love Farrakhan. Again, I'm not sitting here trying to say any leader is perfect or any leader is flawed or whatever, but I think Farrakhan is about as much of a man as you're gonna get in the public eye. I mean, that's a bad man. Anyway, what's the last thing I want to talk about? Oh yeah. So by the way, if you guys were going to watch me on CNN tonight, I apologize that I wasn't there. They called me, and I was going to go on Anderson Cooper 360, and they called me maybe about 2 hours ago, hour and a half ago, and said that they were canceling because of this horrible tragedy in Paris or France. Sorry, in France. It was Nice, France, and I want to give my condolences. I know that we know that what Black people are going through matters, and they do give more attention to what white folks go through than what we go through. But I'm gonna tell you what, I still have sympathy and empathy for those people who go through tragedies like this, and my thoughts are out to their families. And also, the interesting thing too is that when you really think about all of this, when you talk about terrorism and these horrible things that are happening throughout the world, we got to understand the role that Eurocentric world domination, Eurocentric colonialism, and abuse around the world has played in the creation of this anger that might exist in the Muslim community. I don't think every Muslim is angry at America or angry at Europe. But I really think a lot of Muslims have a right to be. I think that there is a lot that we have done to other people that has just been appalling, and we give our tax dollars to these politicians who implement these policies around the world that are just harming so many people. And it's also when you talk about their brother Micah Johnson, who down in Dallas, who fired on those cops. When people say, well, Micah Johnson was a monster, he shouldn't have done this, did this, that, and the other, he killed those cops. I say, yeah, Micah Johnson did squeeze the trigger, but Micah Johnson, if you look in his track record, he's not a brother who's ever squeezed the trigger on nobody. He's never just run around killing people. In fact, you can almost argue that these cops were killed by other cops. When you are a part of a gang, and your fellow gang members are out here doing dirt, and you're overlooking the dirt that they're doing, then when chickens come home to roost, you're going to end up paying a price for that. Like if I signed up and became a blood, and I'm sitting and co-signing, idly watching while other bloods are taking the name of my gang and doing dirt just in a disrespectful way, under the banner of what we created, then ultimately I need to understand that somebody may retaliate against me because we're wearing the same colors. And so again, I don't think that I just hated to see this brother die. It really bothered me. It made me sad because I feel like this man he served his country. I mean, that's more than most of us do. I wasn't trying to go in no military. I wasn't trying to sign up for none of that, And so, but at the same time, I have much respect for those guys that are willing to go put on a uniform to defend the United States. We need the military. Let's be clear. We do need the police too. I mean, as soon as something happened to you, you're gonna be calling the police. So make sure that you think about, in my opinion, this is my 2 cents. You ain't got to do what I tell you to do. I'm just throwing it out there. But as we confront the police on the way they behave, let's try to separate the officers from the system a little bit, in the sense that we have to remember that there are cops who will show up at your house right now if you needed them and do the right thing for you and your family. Not every cop is going to show up and trying to kill everybody. But what the problem is, though, is it's definitely at the top. It's the leadership. They've designed a system that's built on white supremacy, that's built on creating a police state that is harmful to black people. And that becomes a problem, because even if you're a good cop, see, the thing is, good people have a hard time confronting corrupt systems. So if you're a good person and you're in a corrupt system, you stand up against the system spits you out. You end up getting done like Christopher Dorner. Anybody remember Christopher Dorner a couple of years ago? That brother that just lost it and went around, was killing cops and everything else. Remember that systems create people like that. Systems create Chris Dorner. Systems create Micah Johnson. So if you don't confront it, then you're gonna have a problem with that. And I saw this situation with this sister, the former Miss Alabama. I don't remember her name, but Noma Langham with Charlie Moses and Shaquita Graham did a video about it, and they were talking about Miss Alabama, who said that Micah Johnson, she couldn't help but feel that Micah Johnson was a martyr, and next thing you know, just like the rest of us, next thing you know, she's her status of employment is being reconsidered. She's suspended from her job, stuff like that. And so actually, before I get to that, I see some of y'all are asking about Hidden Colors. And I'm actually in Hidden Colors 4. I just watched it for the first time. I was at Damon Dash's house, and we watched it down at his brother got this big old movie theater with 18 seats in it. So it was me and him and his son Boogie and Boogie's girlfriend. And I could tell that after the film was over, they were changed people. Dame literally has been talking to me differently since he saw Hidden Colors 4. Hidden Colors will change it will rock your world. I really believe every black family should have the Hidden Colors set in their house. Just the same way back in the day people used to have encyclopedia sets. Even if you weren't going to open the encyclopedia, you had the whole set in your house. Anyway, if you want to order Hidden Colors from us, we have a deal with Tariq Nasheed where he partners with the Black Business School, and we partner with him. You can go to hiddencolors1234.com. That's hiddencolors1234.com. Just type in the numbers. And also, if you just want part 4, we actually have a free class that goes with it. So we give you education information. We also have this exclusive lecture by Tariq Nasheed where he talks about how he built his company, which I think that's the juice. That's the important part, is learning how he did it, not just what he did. You can actually get that at hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. So if you didn't get the URL and you didn't hear me, just ask me to repeat it. I'll have somebody type it in. But anyway, so this sister, former Miss Alabama, got into some stuff over what she said about Micah Johnson. That he's a martyr and this, that, and the other. And there wasn't nothing wrong with what she said. In fact, the only thing wrong with what she said is that she felt guiltier than I think she should have felt. She kind of she did what black people do. Black people tend to over empathize with white people and under empathize with each other. We don't, there are studies that show that white people believe black people feel less pain, but really that's true that even black people believe black people feel less pain, or that we're less worthy of having our pain acknowledged. So what she was doing was she had a conflict between white supremacist brainwashing and common sense, right? White supremacist brainwashing, what it does is it causes you to kick out common sense. It causes you to forget that, that it's interesting that it's, when a black man is murdered by the cops, when several black men are murdered by the cops, it's supposed to be business as usual. But when a black man murders a few cops, then suddenly it becomes like this national crisis. It becomes this crazy tragedy that, where the shooter clearly was a monster. Now, how many times has a cop killed an innocent, unarmed black man and been called a hero by white people? Do you think these white people are sitting around, most of them, not all of them, I'm talking about all white folks, there's some good white people out here, there really are, I do believe that. But do you really think that they're sitting around really crying and conflicted over the fact that they consider that cop to be a hero? The cop who killed Mike Brown, the cop who shot Alton Sterling, the cop who shot Philando Castile, the white people who look at him, those cops as heroes, I mean, do you think they have much guilt? Are they conflicted? Are they sitting on Facebook crying about it? No, they believe what they believe, and that's it. And the reason they feel this way, honestly, to a point, is because they're in tune with why the system was designed in the first place. The system was not designed to serve and protect everybody. The system was designed to protect white people from black people. It was designed to protect rich people from everybody else. So if you are a wealthy white person or even middle class white person, your view of the police, your relationship with the police is typically going to be very different from the relationship that black people have with the police. So so going back to the sister, there wasn't nothing she said that was wrong. Nothing at all. Everything she said was perfectly fine. It's okay to see Michael Johnson as a martyr. Now, I'm not gonna get into what I think one way or the other because I'm literally planning on moving out of the country at some point because I really think things are gonna get real hot in the United States to the point where people like me might not be able to safely say the things that we say on social media. I really believe that. And I'm looking to maybe doing what I do, doing the same thing I do. You'll still see me every day, but I'm literally thinking about maybe moving to Africa. Like I love Botswana so much. I'm thinking about moving there or someplace, just to kind of be at a safe distance. Because I think black people, we forget that we can live in other countries. We don't have to be here. It don't take nothing but a plane ticket to get out of here. I mean, the same money you might spend on a couple pairs of Jordans and some movie tickets, you can save that money up and get you a plane ticket and get the hell out of here. You ain't got to be here. That's another artifact of our slavery, that we think that the United States is the only place we can be. And then when you leave, you find that there's a whole big world out here, and that there are a lot of people out here who don't think you're a nigger. And but now here's the other thing about the sister too that is unfortunate. Again, this leans back to the way we're trained to think of ourselves as black people. The sister lost her job, or she was suspended from her job, and the reason she was suspended is because she works for white people, and white people don't have an incentive to support that kind of rhetoric. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to. They don't have any reason to support it. And many of these white people, some of them really think that they're good people. They really think that they're looking at her like, "What's wrong with you? Why would you say something like that?" And if you flip that, imagine if there was a white person who felt that he had to financially depend on black people in order to get by, and he went around and said things that were very unpopular in the black community, even if they were true. Even if they were true, he would probably lose his support from black people. Black people would be like, "No, I'm not buying your outfits no more. I'm not going to your store, man. I'm not gonna give you my money. I'm not gonna watch your show because you're a racist," right? So at the end of the day, what the common denominator is that we have to really understand is that a lot of us can't say what we want to say because we, at a very early age, were trained to go work for white people for our very survival. We were trained to go lean on white people to get what we need. We were trained to enter into a system that's designed to keep us powerless and in poverty. This is something that happens all around the world. There are people who basically who run entire charitable organizations where their whole goal is to just exploit the poverty that exists in third world countries and in black communities around the world, black and brown communities, where they pretty much don't want you to be in power. They don't want you to have your manufacturing base. They don't want you to be able to create your own jobs because they can actually form a business around giving you charity. And it's very simple. I explained this in a video the other day. Basically, these charitable organizations, they sell these pictures of these little black kids with flies on them and in poverty, and the people say, "Oh, poor baby, let me give you money." So you give them money, and what they do is they take that money and they pay their friends. They pay their friends to do work. They're like, "Oh, these little babies in Africa need iPods, so I'm gonna pay my friend to go manufacture some iPods or whatever the hell or some sneakers or whatever, so we can give these poor, pathetic, helpless black people who can't take care of themselves. We're going to give them everything they need." And so what happens is that because you're getting all this free stuff, then what happens is your local businesses die. You lose all ability to produce anything on your own, and you become dependent on charity. So as the brother in the film Hidden Colors 4 said, he said that somebody who truly cares about you will educate you. Somebody who wants to enslave you will train you. So many of us just get trained. We get trained to go get jobs working for white people. That's what we get trained to do, and we're happy to get those jobs. We don't want to do the work to create our own infrastructure. Why? Because it's easier to just go get money from the white man. The problem is that you can't be running around here screaming Black Lives Matter and talking smack on social media and expect that white man to still keep paying your bills. It don't work like that. Economic power does not work that way. And so if you really want to understand the future and who controls the power of the future, Poverty Inc. Yep, Muath brought that up. Yep, he's bringing it up in the feed. I see. Yep, go check out Poverty Inc. It's on Netflix. It's a very good documentary. So who controls the power in the future? Who is going to be powerful and who's going to be sitting around feeling sorry for themselves? If you look at your kids now, because we're going to be gone soon. We ain't going to be around long. and our kids will be gone soon after that. And so we talking about kids, grandkids, great grandkids, etc. Who's going to have the power? The power will belong to the children whose parents teach them how to build and how to own, how to invest, how to grow and create their own jobs, how to develop their own industry. When you are the producer and the supplier, you have the power. When I was in school, when I was in high school, I didn't have any money, so I started selling candy. At school, I would go buy it wholesale and sell it retail at the school. And do you know how much power I had when I walked up in that classroom? Because I was the Snickers bar dope man. I was the man who sold the Snickers bars in the M&Ms and the Skittles to everybody. Do you know how much weight I had? I probably could have got a girlfriend off of that. I almost got my first girlfriend off of that. And so basically the power belongs to the supplier. The power belongs to the producers. But if you don't understand how to do that, if your mindset ain't shaped that way, then you're going to end up feeling victimized constantly. It's almost like weather. Like we feel like it's like sometimes we feel like we're under economic weather where we're just like, man, it's raining today. I hate the rain. Or it's snowing today. I hate, the snow. I wish it would just stop snowing. And we really think this is like some magical process that we can't control because we were never taught how these things work. And so in a way, it might be like somebody who's driving their car and their car breaks down. They don't have a clue how to fix it because nobody ever taught them how to fix a car. Nobody ever taught them how to change the oil. Nobody ever taught them how to lift up the hood and fix and change what they need to change. So if you want to get your kids ready to compete in the economic system, you don't want them to grow up thinking that money and jobs just grow on trees and that somebody magically, some magical white man from heaven just creates a job somewhere. You don't know where it came from. You don't care as long as they're paying you on time. And then what happens is when they're not paying you enough, you get mad. When they mistreat you on the job, you get mad. When your job disappears, you get mad. When there's not enough jobs, you get mad. But if you know how to create jobs, then you don't really get as mad. You might say, okay, the opportunities are not over there. I'm gonna go over here. And so the conversation in that area is not about teaching every child that to have a money over everything mentality. That's not it. The goal is to make sure we're not producing economic victims. That's it. Don't make your child a victim. It's a very simple formula. It's not that complicated. It's really not. I swear to God, it's not. It's as easy as doing all the other shit that our kids learn how to do. They learn how to memorize lyrics from rappers who don't even use words anymore. I don't know if y'all heard this guy Designer who does that Panda song. He sounds crazy. He reminds me of Pootie Tang. I don't know if y'all ever saw Pootie Tang in that movie back in the Chris Rock movie back in the day. Like he literally was like so they'll study and memorize lyrics from rappers who don't even use words. They learn all these dances, no matter, whatever dance is out this year, whatever's popular and hip, that's what they learn that. They learn all the other songs on the radio. They learn the storylines of love and hip hop. They learn how to dribble basketballs and throw footballs. They learn how to go and figure out how to kiss a white man's ass every day so they can keep a job. We're very good at that. All those things are not easy to do. All those things take a lot of energy. I can't do a lot of the things that I see our kids doing. So why would you tell me that they can figure out how to do all of this, but they can't figure out how to run a business or they can't figure out how to build a business of their own? That doesn't make any sense. But when it comes to the things that we need to do in order to survive, I will always hear the people that I call them Negro naysayers. I always hear the black people who don't believe in black people. I always hear from those black people who get vehemently angry with me because I have the audacity to believe that our children have the capacity to control their own destiny. Well, if you think that way and that's your mindset, then my words are very simple. Fuck you. This is insane. We don't have to be victims. We don't have to be left behind. We don't have to feel sorry for ourselves. We don't have to feel victimized by other people. If white people can do it, you can do it too. But actually, the truth of the matter is that you're superior in certain ways. You have capabilities that other people don't have. You are the survivors of the Middle Passage. You survived 400 years of the worst treatment known in human history. Your ancestors lived through nightmares and then made it through and created you. So you don't tell me that there's something you can't do. I'm not going to hear it. And here's the thing. The only thing that really stops you from being whatever you want to be is you. And the thing about it is because you're so powerful, because you come from the people that are among the most powerful people on the earth, when you decide that you're not going to accomplish something, then you probably won't. Because you've taken the greatest weapon, one of the greatest weapons on earth, and turned it on yourself. Your strength becomes your weakness because you become your own enemy. And when you become your own enemy, then you're going to ultimately be able to kill yourself. And you're going to be able to kill other black people at the same time, too. That's why when black people are on point, we are extraordinary. We become Venus. We in Serena. We become LeBron. We become Tiger Woods. We become all these amazing things. But when we're off point, we become absolute monsters. We become Lil Wayne. We become these things that are so destructive that nobody can even imagine something destroying at the capacity that we're capable of doing. Same thing. Malcolm X. Look at him. Look at how powerful he was when he became one of the greatest thinkers and leaders of all time. When he was under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and became focused and disciplined and determined, he became an extraordinary human being. But look at how destructive he was when he was Detroit Red. When he hadn't met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was one of the best criminals on earth. So what you got to do is understand, just being black, I really believe because of what we came from, who we are. We're literally born with the biggest gun in the room, and the worst thing you want to do is turn the gun on yourself. So if you start getting to this Negro naysayer mentality, where you start attacking and hating yourself and other black people, just understand you'll probably succeed. Whatever you decide to do, you're probably going to succeed. If you decide that you want to always find a problem for every solution, if you decide you're going to kill every dream that you have and abort it before it ever gets a chance to be born, if you decide you're going to oppress and destroy and abuse and disrupt other black people, there's a good chance you're going to succeed. And so what I would just generally say is take that same energy you spend hating and attacking and being mad and destroying yourself and all these other things that we do, or wasting it on nonsense. Take that energy and just apply it toward the things that are going to make you strong. And I'm going to tell you like this, straight out, period. I've been teaching finance for the last 20-something years. I understand these financial systems very well. I've taught thousands of students who now work on Wall Street, and they're executives now. They're actually power brokers. I know the economic systems, the theories that underline all the economic systems that ultimately destroyed the economy back in 2008. I know all of this. And I remember even in grad school questioning a lot of this. It comes down to something that you can look up if you want. It's called the efficient markets hypothesis. Basically, Alan Greenspan believed deeply in the efficient markets hypothesis, and it caused the entire economy to crumble in 2008, 2009. So I know these systems and how they work, and I can tell you straight out, point blank right now, the number one thing you can do for your community and for your children and for yourself and for your family is get your children trained on the basics of wealth building. Make them economic soldiers. That means just get them the basics so that they can take, because what they're going to do, kids are amazing. Kids take whatever you put them in and they flip it and they make it something that you never thought it was ever going to become. They'll take something boring and make it creative, because teenagers especially have a natural rebellious creativity about them. But if you raise them in the mud, they're going to take that mud and make it into something horrible too. So don't raise your kids in the mud. Raise them with a chance to grow. Give them a chance to fight and prepare them to fight. Prepare them to compete. Don't ever in any way convince them that there's some sort of charitable instinct that exists in America that's going to take care of black people, or that somehow they can depend on the people who hate them to pay their bills. That does not work. Your child will end up 24 years old, sitting in his drawers playing Xbox every day, smoking weed because he's upset because white people ain't hiring. White people ain't giving them no jobs. That's what happens. I see a lot of brothers who are in that position to this day, and it makes me sick. It really bothers me, because I'm sitting there thinking, you needed a real man in your house. You need somebody who's going to tell you to get off your ass and go fight for what you want. You have to fight. Kids have to fight. All right, I'm done talking. Y'all know how I get all carried away with it, but that's how I feel. By the way, if you are interested in our wealth building program for kids, you can go check it out. It's at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. That's blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. We have a money back guarantee in case you don't like it. We're actually launching a boot camp for children as well. That's going to be facilitated by Mikai Brown. I'm going to design the curriculum. I'm going to let Mikai actually teach it, because she's good at teaching kids and talking to kids. And we got a lot of good stuff that we're developing for kids. We're actually developing. I was meeting in LA with Tierra Williams about the creation of almost like a financial version of Sesame Street for children that we want to do as kind of a series in the Black Business School, and basically, using puppets and having fun and just kind of making that part of our culture. I mean, I really think that we have to talk about economic empowerment in our households like it's a religion, and it all comes down to to controlling the base. the base of your community. Can your community survive without white people? Can you survive without white people? That's kind of really the fundamental question to ask. Because I'm gonna tell you like this: if you out here protesting, talking smack on social media, standing up to white folks, telling them what you really think, you can't do all of that and then turn around and say, "Massa, can you give me a paycheck?" It don't work. Life don't work that way. Think about it. Can somebody really say a bunch of stuff to you and stand up to you and talk smack to you and then ask you to pay their rent? You would look at them like they stupid. You'd be like, you a punk. You have no ability. You can't even take care of yourself. You're a child. What are you talking about? Don't stand up to me as a man when you're a child. You can't get by without me. So that's exactly how they look at you. They're like, these people, what's wrong with these people? All the stuff that we do for them, we pay all their bills, and they talk to us like this. That's how they're looking at you. Point blank, period. That's just honestly God truth. All right, I'm about to go, guys. And by the way, if you want the free ebook, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. So you can get a free copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar. I designed it to be a set of clear principles that kind of lay all this out and gives you a framework, kind of helps you out. Because the information is all out there. Now with the advent of the internet, the reason the internet is so exciting is because now you don't have to go to Syracuse University and spend $50,000 a year to hear from a professor like me. You get to hear from people like me, online, in the Black Business School, and other places. And I just think it's exciting. I really feel like a kid in a candy store because this was a dream come true for me too. Because when I was sitting around those folks who didn't understand me, I felt so lost and so upset. But anyway, I see Dawn is asking, the Convention of the Oppressed, are you going to be there? Yes, I am. I'm actually here now. In Cleveland, I saw Malik Shabazz yesterday, and he's a good brother, man. I have a lot of respect for him. Smart guy. He runs the Black Lawyers for Justice, and he's at the head of the new Black Panther Party. And so I'll be speaking tomorrow. I hear Cornel West and Mark Lamont Hill are here. Also, let's see, we got that movie coming out, so I hope you guys will check out Steel Justice when it's ready. It's a great storyline. It's about a black law firm. Richard Brooks is on that show Being Mary Jane. He plays Mary Jane's brother. And Richard and I really collaborate a lot on the script. And because I told him, I said, look, if we're going to make this into a movie, I really want this to be, the kind of film that I think people could watch and really get something from. And I saw Richard T. Jones acting. Richard T. Jones has been in a lot of stuff too. He was in that movie Concussion with Will Smith. He played Dave Durrison, the brother who killed himself after he got the brain damage that happens to a lot of football players. And I said, the other actors are great. J.B. Brown did a great job. Dame Dash did a great job. Claudia Jordan was amazing. But I said Richard T. really stood out to me. And I said I would love to see a storyline that allows him to go through the emotional experience of being a black man, a black athlete who's been accused of raping, say, a wealthy white woman. I like to see how that plays out. And so that's one of the main storylines of the film. I actually play the judge. Now, do I know anything about acting? No. I don't, but I can do it. I can wing it. Being a judge is a lot like being a professor. When you're a professor, you're the authority figure. You get to make decisions and tell people what to do, stuff like that. So it was an easy transition for me to be a judge. But really, my main goal was in everything that we're doing, we're always thinking about trying to see how we can help black people with the takeover. The takeover to me means taking everything back, controlling everything, controlling the means of distribution in almost everything we do. We're looking into ways that we can actually create spaces where black people can buy every household good that they need from a black source, right? Because right now we don't have the ability to buy, say, toothpaste and socks and detergent and towels and everything from other black people. There are a couple places out there, like WeBuyBlack.com is really good with that, but I think that we need 100 websites like that, 100 different places, or 1,000 maybe, where we can do these sorts of things. And we've also talked about a lot of stuff, even the idea of building a new black bank. But having it not really be a bank, but basically have it be a place where there's capital, because that's really what black people need. We need access to capital to build businesses. Now, Rita's asking, where is it showing the film? We're probably going to release it on our own. We do have a network that has talked about wanting to buy it from us already, because they saw who was in it, and they saw when we made it into a trailer, into a pilot. And and so they said, well, we'd like to see this as a film. And we were like, okay, if it's a film, do y'all want it? Are y'all going to buy it? And they were like, yeah, we can almost guarantee we're going to buy it. So, and that's important in the beginning because, to be honest with you, we're trying to build all this stuff. And the hard part is rate just having the money to do everything you want to do. I mean, you're trying to compete with white corporations that can raise $10 million like that. It's hard work. You really got to be creative. And the thing about it is, I have a lot of faith in my intelligence. Not that I'm the smartest person in the world, but I do believe that I can do 10 times more than they can do with 1/5 of the money. So basically, we just raise our capital. We got a new investor not too long ago who came through for us. And we're just trying to build. My whole life, that's all I want to do is just build, 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 plant seeds. And that's what you do. Just plant and build, and don't worry about it if it's not working out. If something goes wrong, that's all right. Keep going. Just keep moving. And then, because what will happen is what you'll leave to your kids is going to be turned into something that you can't even imagine. But if you don't leave them nothing, then they ain't got nothing to work with. Right? So just understand that. That's what you want to do. Build and plant. And then train your kids to be ready to take over the empire when you're done. So when I talk to my girls and I talk to young people I mentor, that's all we're talking about is building, owning, not begging. Don't be going out there. Don't be going down the street begging that white man for his money. That's his money. Leave him alone. Don't worry about him. Don't let him control your house. Be a man, be a woman, be strong. Let's fight. Let's be intelligent. So anyway, I'm done. I gotta get to work, guys. So if you're in Cleveland, come on out. We're at the Convention of the Oppressed, and after Cleveland, I guess I don't know where I'll be next. I gotta check my schedule. So, but I know I'll be here at some point. And don't forget, go to the Black Business School. We got a lot of good stuff over there. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. And have a good day. Peace. Okay, I'm hitting